Zimbabwe, a country once known as the breadbasket of Africa, has been grappling with an economic crisis that has seen inflation skyrocket to a staggering 55% in March of this year. This southern African nation, rich in resources and potential, finds itself caught in a whirlwind of economic turbulence. From the bustling markets of Harare to the quiet rural areas, the impact of this crisis is palpable. A high inflation rate, coupled with a lack of job opportunities, has plunged many Zimbabweans into the depths of poverty. In the face of such adversity, the resilience and spirit of the Zimbabwean people remain unbroken. But the strain of the economic situation is evident in every aspect of daily life. The symptoms of this economic malaise are widespread. Unemployment rates are soaring, leading to an increase in the number of people living below the poverty line. Inflation is eroding the value of wages and savings, making it harder for families to afford basic necessities. The cost of living is rising at an alarming rate, with prices for goods and services spiraling out of control. The ripple effects of this economic downturn are felt far and wide, affecting not just individuals but businesses and the nation as a whole. Amidst this backdrop of economic hardship, Zimbabwe's central bank has been working tirelessly to find a solution. So it's time to be awakened and find out what this solution is and how will it benefit the average Zimbabwean. In a bold move to tackle these issues, the Central Bank of Zimbabwe has introduced a new currency. Zimbabwe's central bank has taken a bold step by introducing a new currency called Zim Gold, or ZiG, backed by the nation's gold and other precious minerals. This move is aimed at tackling the country's high inflation rate, which stood at a staggering 55% in March. With widespread poverty and high unemployment, Zimbabwe's economy is in dire need of stabilization, and the central bank believes ZiG could be a part of the solution. ZiG is not just another currency. It's a symbol of hope and resilience backed by the tangible wealth of the nation. Every ZiG note signifies a share of Zimbabwe's gold and precious mineral reserves, grounding the currency's value in something real and, importantly, valuable. This approach is a stark departure from the norm, where currencies are often backed by the government's promise to pay, resulting in potential instability if that promise wavers. But the introduction of ZiG doesn't mean the immediate disappearance of the old currency. Zimbabweans have a period of 21 days to convert their old cash into ZiG. This transition period is crucial, as it provides the citizens with the time to adapt to the new currency and understand its implications. The central bank claims to have reserves totaling $285 million, including gold and foreign exchange reserves. This reserve pool is expected to provide a solid foundation for ZiG, safeguarding its value against fluctuations in the global economy. ZiG will circulate alongside a basket of other currencies, featuring a market-determined exchange rate. This means that the value of ZiG will be determined by the market forces of supply and demand, rather than being fixed by the government. This approach is expected to provide greater transparency and stability, reducing the risk of artificial inflation or deflation. The new currency is expected to stabilize the economy and combat inflation, but how will it achieve this? The ZiG is not just another currency, it is a gold-backed currency, and this gives it a certain edge. Gold-backed currency, as the name suggests, is a type of currency that is backed by a physical commodity, in this case gold. This means that each unit of the currency represents a specific amount of gold held in reserve by the issuing authority. It's a bit like having a piece of paper that says, you own a certain amount of gold, and you can exchange that paper for the gold at any time. What sets gold-backed currency apart is its inherent stability. Unlike fiat currency, the kind of money most of us are used to, which is not backed by a physical commodity, gold-backed currency has intrinsic value. Fiat money only has value because a government maintains its value, or because parties engaging in exchange agree on its value. Gold, on the other hand, has value in and of itself. This stability can prove to be a powerful tool in combating inflation. When the value of money is tied to gold, it becomes much harder for a government to print more money and devalue the currency, which is often the cause of inflation. This is particularly relevant to Zimbabwe, a country that has struggled with hyperinflation in the past. The new currency, ZiG, will circulate alongside a basket of other currencies. This means that Zimbabweans will have a choice of which currency to use. The advantage here is that this can help smooth out fluctuations in the value of any one currency. If the value of the ZiG falls, people can switch to using another currency until the ZiG stabilizes again. Additionally, the ZiG will feature a market-determined exchange rate. This means that the value of the ZiG in relation to other currencies will be determined by supply and demand in the foreign exchange market. This can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, it can help keep the value of the ZiG steady. On the other hand, it leaves the ZiG vulnerable to market fluctuations. With gold as its backbone, ZiG is expected to bring stability to Zimbabwe's volatile economy. But is it all rosy? While the introduction of ZiG is a promising move, it does not come without its challenges. As with any major economic shift, the transition to a new currency could present a number of hurdles for Zimbabwe. Firstly, there's the issue of trust. The Zimbabwean people have experienced economic instability for years, with an inflation rate at 55% just last month. Rebuilding their confidence in the national currency will not happen overnight. There's a risk that citizens might be hesitant to adopt ZiG, preferring to hold on to other more stable currencies they're currently using. The new currency also poses a logistical challenge. Zimbabweans have a mere 21 days to convert their old cash into ZiG. This may result in long queues at banks and other financial institutions, and not everyone may be able to convert their cash within the given time frame. Then there's the matter of backing the new currency. The central bank claims to have reserves totaling $285 million, including gold and foreign exchange reserves. However, maintaining a gold-backed currency requires a steady supply of gold, and any fluctuations in the gold market could impact the stability of ZiG. On the international front, the acceptance of ZiG by other countries and international financial institutions is not guaranteed. Zimbabwe will need to work hard to build credibility and ensure that ZiG is accepted in international trade. So how does the central bank plan to overcome these challenges? Well, to build trust, transparency will be crucial. The central bank will need to consistently demonstrate that it's capable of maintaining the value of ZiG and managing the economy effectively. To ease the transition, the bank could extend the cash conversion period or provide additional resources to ensure that all Zimbabweans are able to convert their cash. To maintain the gold reserves, Zimbabwe could leverage its rich mineral resources and robust mining sector. This could include ramping up gold production or diversifying the reserves to include other precious minerals. And finally, to establish international credibility, Zimbabwe will need to engage with other countries and international financial institutions. This could involve demonstrating fiscal discipline, implementing sound economic policies, and ensuring that the country's financial practices align with international standards. The path to economic recovery for Zimbabwe is not going to be easy, but with the introduction of ZiG, there is a glimmer of hope. Despite the challenges ahead, this bold move could pave the way for a more stable and prosperous future for Zimbabwe. The introduction of ZiG is a pivotal moment in Zimbabwe's economic history. This new currency, backed by tangible assets such as gold and other precious minerals, has the potential to bring stability to an economy that has been marred by high inflation rates and widespread poverty. The potential impact of ZiG on Zimbabwe's economy cannot be understated. By having a currency backed by gold, Zimbabwe is essentially pegging the value of its money to a solid, universally valued commodity. This could potentially curb the rampant inflation that the country has been grappling with, bringing about much-needed economic stability. But the road ahead is not without its challenges. While the introduction of ZiG carries the promise of stability, it also brings with it a measure of uncertainty. Will the central bank manage to maintain the necessary reserves to back the currency? Will the population trust and adopt this new medium of exchange, especially given the 21-day window to convert old cash into ZiG? Yet there's a sense of hope that comes with this new currency. For the people of Zimbabwe, ZiG represents an opportunity for a fresh start. It's a chance to break free from the cycle of hyperinflation and economic hardship that has plagued them for years. The new currency could potentially stimulate economic growth, encourage foreign investment, and ultimately improve the living standards of the Zimbabwean people. The expectations and hopes attached to ZiG are immense. It's more than just a new mode of transaction, it's a symbol of potential economic revival. It's a beacon of hope for a nation that has endured economic turbulence for far too long. As Zimbabwe takes this bold step towards economic recovery, the world watches with bated breath. Today we delved into the heart of Zimbabwe's economic crisis, and the introduction of a new gold-backed currency, ZiG. Let's take a moment to recap what we've learned. Zimbabwe has been grappling with an economic crisis characterized by high inflation, widespread poverty, and high unemployment. The inflation rate stood at a staggering 55% in March, underscoring the severity of the situation. This crisis has pushed the nation to seek innovative solutions, leading to the introduction of a new currency, Zim Gold or ZiG. ZiG is not just another currency, it's a bold move by Zimbabwe's central bank to stabilize the economy and curb inflation. What makes ZiG unique is its backing by gold and other precious minerals. This backing is expected to lend the currency stability and credibility, two elements that have been missing from Zimbabwe's economic landscape for quite some time. The new currency will circulate alongside a basket of other currencies and will feature a market-determined exchange rate, which is another step towards injecting stability into the economy. Zimbabweans have a window of 21 days to convert their old cash into ZiG, marking a significant shift in the country's monetary policy. However, as with every new policy, there are challenges ahead. A key concern is the central bank's claim of having reserves totaling $285 million, which include gold and foreign exchange reserves. The question is, whether these reserves are sufficient to back ZiG and instill confidence among the populace and the international community. We also explored the road ahead for Zimbabwe and ZiG. The country's leader, President Emerson Mnangagwa, has inspected the central bank's vaults holding 1.1 tons of gold and additional reserves abroad. This move signals his administration's commitment to the success of ZiG and the stabilization of Zimbabwe's economy. Zimbabwe's journey towards economic recovery is a story of resilience and innovation. Only time will tell if ZiG will be the golden ticket to Zimbabwe's economic stability.